him, I'm back strong.
This week in action.
Where is the eye of the serpent?
Could be something.
Talk to the developers.
Or are you playing with my emotions?
Let's get sad and then
Too good to be true.
That's not what they did here. When's the money going?
what other horror stories can come with this?
We love Tencent.
We love Tencent. This week in action. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the official Action RPG live stream. My name is Aaron, owner and operator of the YouTube channel Action RPG, and today is podcast 19. And with me, as always, are my friends, couple of my channel leaders, my moderators, Daft and Guilty. Say hello, gentlemen.
How's it going, guys?
Heyo.
And for today, for this stream, we are going to be talking Summer Game Fest, which includes Diablo 4. We have to touch on Diablo Immortal. We're going to talk about games that we have been playing and just general banter about the future of gaming and PC gaming. If you have any questions, put it in the chat, and I'm hoping that we have a really good time. Starting it off, and just to be clear, non-rehearsed. I basically throw questions at these guys and I let them just kind of go at it. Go into Guilty
Pretty
first. First game that comes to mind when you think of the entire Summer Game Fest that you wish you had right now. What is it?
It's going to sound odd because it's not something we usually play, but the Cuphead DLC.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cuphead DLC.
This is Daft. That is Guilty.
No. There you go.
That's smart. I should put names under you.
Lol.
help.
Yeah, Cuphead DLC. The guy hand draws this stuff. Like, that's why it took so long to make the game originally. It was like two brothers. One was a contractor and the other was an artist.
Cuphead DLC. That's what you're going with.
Well, that's the thing I've been waiting for the longest.
Okay.
There was some surprises.
Daft, what do you think?
I'm kind of... I like the whole Cuphead thing. That I dug that. I have it. It reminds me of the old cartoons, obviously, with the style. Kind of, for some reason, recently, I've been looking at, like, playing a little fighters. So, believe it or not, the Guile Street Fighter type stuff has been slightly interesting. Not
You're
like
saying Street Fighter 6 and Cuphead are your guys' games that you want to play right now.
If I were to pick... Yeah. I mean,
Thank you, Angwar.
Ninja Turtles. Hey, Angwar.
what is up, sir?
Okay, my turn.
Yeah.
You
What
already
are you
know what
looking
I'm
at,
going to
Aaron?
say.
What
The
is?
game could create itself right now and be ready. I would play Diablo 4, and more specifically, my Necromancer class, which I have made the background of this podcast. You're
Yeah,
telling me,
I'm
Guilty,
not
you'd rather
surprised.
play Cuphead over D4.
Currently,
Come on.
I'd rather play the Ninja Turtle games over D4 right now
All right, why?
because it's a continuation of was it Turtles in Time? Like, why not?
I'll rephrase my question. Why are you not excited for D4?
I don't exactly. I don't trust the company making it entirely.
I can imagine.
I would like to wait until it gets a little bit closer. We get a little bit more, in like a inner look at what it actually is, because I saw a lot of pretty pictures. It looks great.
It does
and
look
the
pretty.
Paragon chart looks amazing, but that doesn't really mean much. That doesn't make it. That a good game does not make.
Okay, so you're saying based upon current publicity around the Diablo Immortal, you do not trust D4.
No, based off of everything they've done for the last few years.
I was gonna say, yeah.
It's not just one thing.
It's a story that's been developed for the last 4 years.
They did stuff in World of Warcraft. They did stuff with Warcraft 3. They've done stuff with Diablo Immortal. They did stuff with the company itself. They did stuff. Bungie left. I mean, there's. I'll wait until we get a little bit closer to see what it is. I'm not going to say it's bad or good until I can see more of it.
Daft, did you play Diablo Immortal?
Yes,
How long?
for about 2.5 days, up through Monday afternoon.
How
That's
many
about it.
hours?
That was the end. I'd have to look actually. I
Guess.
don't know.
2 hours over 2 days,
Oh, wait,
10
that's
hours.
Immortal. I can't look that up quick. I probably played roughly 8 hours a day.
Okay, so 15 hours?
16, 19 hours I maybe put into it overall.
Okay, if, let's say, the store didn't exist, okay?
Right.
Diablo Immortal, MTX were not in the game, and the game cost, $10, and all that crap that you could buy was just put in it.
Sure.
Would it be a good game?
Yes.
I mean, it would be an average game.
It'd be a good game that I would recommend in the sense of, do you want to play a game? You're familiar with the lore, you're familiar with the company, you know what they're going to bring. And there's no, what we get in Immoral. Sure, I'd say, yeah. I don't think it would be their favorite game ever, but at the same time, it was enjoyable if you didn't have that.
Diablo Immortal was trending on Twitter it might probably still trending right
Might be.
now.
Well, someone was clever when they came up with that.
Yes.
Yes.
But the
yes.
game, it's not as complex as I would like to have in a Diablo game.
No.
So no,
And that's what I
there's other
said.
games I can play that are much better than it.
Well, I didn't say it would be my favorite.
I
It
would
just was
say
passable and fun.
I think I played more than both of you. I got to Paragon
I know you
8, level 60. I did not spend a cent, nothing. I was like, what can we do free to play?
Nice.
And I did
Right.
I did go the PvP route too. I was doing my 3 PvPs a day, and I had a 60% win ratio. That doesn't mean I was top of my class,
That's-
every single time, but I was winning more
It's
than I was
passable.
losing. But I got a
Yeah.
feeling that as it scales, I would have started getting more and more wrecked. Now,
I mean, the way it was designed.
Yeah.
this was my
They
take
wanted
on
that.
it. If you are looking for a very, very casual game where you can completely turn off your brain and play it, it'll auto move, it'll show you auto pathing, and literally you just click red dots. Oh, there's a red dot. That means I completed something, or it wants to take me somewhere.
Yeah,
The
that's that positive fluke.
The game's fine.
Yeah.
Which is another way of saying, I think if you rate Diablo Immortal as a mobile game, mobile specifically, we're okay.
Sure.
Because every mobile game's littered with MTX. If you rate it as a PC game, it's
So
unrateable.
It's
It's
not-
terrible. It's unbelievably
Me-
terrible.
it's not just that it has
Anymore.
MTX. That's not the issue. I fully expected that. It's the nature of the MTX, just the amount of manipulation.
Thrown into finishing a
went-
dungeon.
Overboard. Those little dots you brought up, we've already talked about this in the past, but those little dots, every time you earn something that you didn't earn, that's positive reinforcement. That's a dopamine hit.
Feels
That makes you-
good.
Want that? Yeah, you need those red dots. So you're going to do something to keep those red dots coming at the same amount that you were getting them for nothing.
I've got to admit
I mean-
something today. Today I logged into Diablo Immortal because I was recording a video. And
Did you
since I logged in, I got all my daily login bonuses. And I found myself clicking them all. Even though I'm not going to play it. But hey, I log in. I might as well get the free claim. And I got my free
Right.
Elder Rift Run. I should probably just do that really quick. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not planning on playing this game.
Any more than red dots?
Dude, that would be a good meme.
Got these cheeseburgers.
That's the mobile thing. It's the addictive quality of the game. They make this just loops, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to play it to end game, because I was like, okay, I'm used to mobile, and even like a Lost Ark. I played the campaign like a robot. I didn't read any of the story, even though I heard the story was good. I didn't watch any of the cinematic. I watched some of the cinematics, but it's like, all right, being a robot on a mobile campaign or acting as if I was a robot in another game, that's fine. I want to see what Diablo Immortal has to offer at end game, and then I will make up my mind. And then when I got there,
further than I did.
And then when I got there, I was like, okay, like this is, and that's why I made that video, which I already knew was going to get ratioed to oblivion. I knew it, and I said it was going to get ratioed in the intro, and then it got ratioed. Was my Lost Ark and Diablo Immortal is the same game video, and I made a point to say, obviously it's not the same game, but it's the same game loop. They have the exact same mechanics. You log in, you run your dailies, heavy pay-to-win predatory MTX system, and you're always kind of doing the same thing, which ends up getting boring, right?
Is it not? Diablo Immortal's way more predatory than Lost Ark.
And I said that. I said the shop in Diablo Immortal's way worse, and PvP's worse because it's not scaled.
Right.
So,
like if Lost Ark has, it to an extent, it has those mobile, MTX types, and that's like what I would expect in a normal mobile game.
Yep.
Even though it's not.
Yeah.
Diablo Immortal would be like that thing's like deity, the thing they want to become. Like it's just way worse.
Well, you could buy power. I mean, technically, Lost Ark, you could buy power.
You could buy power, but it's not in Lost Ark. They weren't getting you addicted to buying power with all their little red dots and all the like straight up manipulation.
I mean,
Lost
I don't
Ark
know.
did it because you were like hitting a wall. In Diablo Immortal, you're doing it because they literally loaded your brain with all the candy every time you got something that you like, an award for something.
Is one better than the other, though? So one, you hit a wall and you're required to spend money to progress, and the other one, you're spending money because you want to get the dopamine hit of getting something good. What's the difference?
Of the people we know that are top tier in Lost Ark, I don't know one personally that cracked their wallet. I know someone that cracked their wallet, but not personally. But we just had someone hit the top tier today, the highest you can hit, and he hasn't spent a dime.
Right,
like,
you can
and
do
that's
it.
and a few people haven't spent a dime. You can't do that in Diablo Immortal, unless you crack out 110 grand on average.
So
You have to, in Lost Ark, just dedicate the time daily.
And that's the game loop I'm no longer interested in. I'm no longer interested in the I am required to log in every day to get these rewards, to do these 10 things in order to hang with everybody. I don't like it. And that's what actually has brought me back to wanting to play Last Epoch. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I can't turn off my brain on that. Like, I'm trying to create builds and I'm going through the skills and I'm testing things. And there is a chance that running this monolith run, an item could drop of high value, of high rarity, that I could make a build off of. In both of those other games, that's not possible. And that's what I said, that was my killer for Diablo Immortal. Before the game even released, I said, what can save this, even if everything is terrible, is a very detailed, a very vast, a very specific loot. If there's 500 uniques and 50 different sets, and you can go literally D2 Bale runs or Mephisto runs, like, you can actually have that loot grind, I'm all for that, because now I have the fighter's chance of the thing that the person purchased, I can go get on my own. I'm okay with that. If Guilty wants to go spend $500 and he got the best sword, haha, I found it for free. you know what, like, do what you want with your money. I'm a little more okay with that. But in this game, you can't find it. You are required to purchase.
I will say, between the two would be in Lost Ark, you could easily hit a lull and go do other things. And kind of like keep playing the game and continue the progress and the fun in the game, but you'd slow down your progress. So it just depended on what's important. Being
and
up
tell
at
me
the
if you
top,
tell me if you think I'm wrong.
Kind of getting there.
You got to think the people that are designing these games know that the players will have a sense of falling behind. So it's Daft is grinding. Oh crap, my friends are however many levels or whatever power score or gear score ahead of me. I need a catch-up mechanic. Slide. Charge the Amex. Like that's and I get it, because to them they're thinking, well, wouldn't they want that in the game? Don't they want a mechanic to be able to catch up to their friends? We're doing it for the gamer. But obviously then it's just people are abusing it by spending all this money to get light years ahead of everyone else.
Right.
I
It's
hate
rushing to the stop sign for me. It's like when you're driving and someone's rushing to the red light just to stop. All right, you're there first, but I'm getting here. We're all sitting here at the same time. It's just that kind of vibe with the game. I felt like it's not like I stopped playing it forever and I won't play it, but I typically don't play games straight for months and months on end. I usually move them around and play different types of games. And so the commitment part on that end made it so I couldn't really do the other ones. And ultimately that started kind of becoming like pressure. I was like, but I'm wanting to do these other ones, but I don't have time because obviously family and all the other things. So, that's ultimately what slowed it down for me.
If Daft doesn't have the time to play it, nobody does. This is a man that has 3,000 hours into Last Epoch. Right?
Put some in last week.
Did you?
I mentioned in a previous podcast that it's going to Lost Ark's going to be like Destiny 2. You're going to hit a cap and only play once a week. And that's that's what's happened. The guys that hit that top tier, they're the first ones to drop out because they're bored.
Well, what they do is they wait for the weekly reset. Reset comes, they run all their XYZ, and then they wait till the next week. Like, that's not fun. I mean, I don't.
No, that's why I stopped playing Destiny 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Switching
Everything
gears.
now I'm playing is all these little mini games that are 15, 20, 30 minutes, and that's more satisfying. Because
the good old rogue likes of Vampire Survivors.
It's the exact opposite of Lost Ark, right? It's like to play Lost Ark and feel fulfilled. It's like days of work and then weeks of work to just kind of move. But in these games, it's like you play, you're done. That you don't have to go back into it and continue the same game, and that's the thing. And it's funny. That's right where I went to was these style of games and some of the other ones like the Last Epoch and some other stuff I haven't played in a while.
Well, speaking of games from the Summer Game Fest, are you guys Atlas fans? Did you like? I guess Persona would be the most popular thing they've done here in America, but they did it's a spin off the Shin Megami Tensei series, and they've done like Devil Summoner stuff like that. I think they even did Trauma. It was like it was a game on the Wii where you were a ER surgeon. But there's a new one coming out called Soul Hackers 2. That's probably going to be pretty good. If you follow like Atlas, it's an Atlas game.
Boring.
Okay. You're a hater of fine things, sir.
Boring. The game that looks good is that Plunky. What is it called?
Oh, it's from Devolver Digital, which is probably going to be fantastic. It was the Plucky Squire.
Plucky the Squire? Is that what it is?
No, the Plucky Squire.
The Plucky Squire.
The Plucky Squire. That is going to be a good one.
It looks well made. It's vibrant with its color palette, and it looks well thought out, well made. Like you come off of the page, and then you can go onto the side of a coffee mug, and the mechanics look.
It's got a real It Takes Two vibe. Okay, my top 3 games for 2023. All right.
Okay.
Number 1, Last Epoch 1.0.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yep.
Okay. Number
What's in
1. Number 2. And I think this one might be a little bit of a surprise. Stormgate.
The RTS?
The new RTS from Frost Giant Studios, built on Unreal Engine 5. I still haven't been able to scratch my RTS itch. So that's number 2, and those are from the developers of StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3. So you know it's going to be good, and that's Blizzard
The
North.
original
Yes.
Warcraft 3, not the remake.
Yes. So that's number 2, and then number 3 is D4. Now that they brought Necro in, that sealed the deal for me. And Angwar, I know you're watching. It's mine. Don't even think about it.
Ingvar, he's digging on the Necro too, I believe.
I mean, I typically play like a druid, and you guys make fun of me.
No. Xever wants to play Druid too.
You did
Flenser!
make fun of me.
Hey, Flenser, how's it going, bud?
Hey, how are you,
Closing in
Flenser?
on 1 year. Smile. Hi, Aaron. How you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. Podcast. Having fun with
I
these.
don't know. What's your top 3, Daft?
He didn't catch all the streams.
See,
Well, there's other games
my-
that aren't in the streams that are coming out next year, though.
I'm not as much as the next game hunter as you guys are. In my daily routine, most of the stuff I find out is through you guys.
You're not going to say Furthest Frontier?
I will say Furthest Frontier, because that is the same team that made our lovely Grim Dawn, but it's a city builder, and I'm looking forward to that a lot, actually. And I'm surprised it's right around the corner, actually.
August,
What's up,
August
Flenser?
for early access.
Doing good.
Yeah. Diablo 4, literally, because, well, I've played Diablo since 1, so I've been on the ride. So the last few have been more of a carousel as far as
They threw you off?
Yeah, pretty quick.
Went a little bit too fast.
A little too fast, a little too spinny. But those are probably the only 2 I'm really looking forward to. There's other games, but they're smaller indie games on the most part.
This is what's going to
So
make
they're not as
D4
well-known.
special. This is what's going to make D4 special. Last Epoch 1.0, as much as I want it, it's my number 1 game. It's not going to launch with guilds, which is going to suck. They want to add guilds, but it's not going to launch with it. It's a priority. It's a top or I shouldn't say a top. It is on the the top part of the list of priorities, but it's not a 1.0 launch priority. So we will be getting it, but it's not coming at launch. D4 will be, in my opinion, the truly next community game. The game that we did like Lost Ark, where we'll have a whole separate section on the Discord. We'll have leaders, we'll have meetups, we'll have stream nights, we'll have character breakdowns,
Yeah.
I feel like D4 will be the next true game that brings everyone together. Last Epoch will do that too, because we're going to be playing it so much, but we won't have guilds. So that's actually my big excitement, is anytime we could find a game that we could play as a community.
Yeah, it's fun. I've enjoyed the few we've played, more so Lost Ark, because we actually did a bit more into it, but I did hear of the other Tribes of Midgard. I heard they came out with an update recently.
Yeah, well,
Speaking
Tribes of
of the other
Midgard does
games.
seasons, so I think it's just
Right.
and then
New
Anvil
season.
has season 2 coming out.
Right. Already. That's really fast for a game that's in early access to already be on season 2.
I know. I think they're gonna change up the battle pass a little bit. They're adding in the swordsman, so it'll be a
Okay.
melee DPS class.
That game has gobs of potential.
I know it does.
It is when we're playing it in a group, it is more. I'm having more fun with it than I had with many other games we played in group play, because it's just very engaging.
And I think that's the idea, like Daft said, of roguelike,
Right.
is that I don't have time to play for 5 hours and grind all my daily activities. I do have time for a 20 or 30 minute session to see if I can push myself. Thank you, Christina.
Smooch.
Oh, I got a smooch.
Got the smooch.
That's my wifey.
Mine's not over.
She's over there.
Cleanser, I am
Good.
super
Hanging
hyped
out.
for the release of Persona 3, 4, and 5. It's supposed to be the version that came to the PSP that has the new female protagonist, and I think it includes the FES content, which is like 30 more hours of gameplay with the robot. Super hyped for that.
Did you guys hear Baldur's Gate 3 is released? Did you guys know that?
Released? I didn't know it was released.
I think it was released.
Well, what?
I didn't want to tell
That's
you guys because then you guys would make
October.
me play it.
That's October.
I thought it was released.
No,
No?
that's in October.
Yeah, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Jumping the gun.
Oh, good. They're going to make me play that.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Okay, Diablo 4 launched today. Which class do you pick? I go Necro.
I'd probably go Sorceress.
I knew
Usually
you were
my
gonna
bread
say
and butter
that.
of that game.
That's what
Early on.
El Diablo
I
was
tried-
saying that he would normally go Rogue Marksman because he likes bow classes, but he's thinking about
Right.
Sorceress because he thinks the Rogue looks like crap.
Remember
I
earlier,
thought that
Aaron,
the Druid
you were
did.
you were suggesting to me when we played Immoral to do the monk. I tried the monk.
Yeah? No?
It,
But the monk in Diablo Immortal
It
is
was
not
mostly.
going to be like the monk in D4.
I know
There is no
the
monk
reason,
in D4. There is
Not yet.
no, 5
Main,
classes.
main
It's-
reason was
Yeah,
the
we'll add
control.
another one in.
The control, getting used to it was the first character I made on Diablo Immortal, so I wasn't used to the way you targeted yet, and everything with the monk was control, like auto. You had to target with your little mouse mover, and that it was horrible.
Oh, I'm
I
sure.
think I got to level 10 in the story when you finished.
you're
the
like, I
first
gotta
part of the
switch it.
story. Yep. instantly.
Flenzer
I
is saying he's thinking
switched
between
horses.
Druid and Necro. I recommend you go Druid because me and Angwar are already Necros, and we don't want a whole bunch of minions everywhere.
With Druid, what I've seen from, and obviously this could change. The game's not probably even in alpha fully yet. It seemed that while you were attacking, you would change into the animal and then immediately revert back.
It is not a permanent shape-shifting class.
And that is not what I want in a Druid.
Okay,
Unless
feel
that's
nice.
just that particular build, and there is a way to do it. And we're seeing like a Beastmaster, and that
for
he changes.
D4, what do we have? We
Whatever.
have Barbarian, Necro, Rogue, Druid, Crusader? Right? Crusader? No. Rogue, Barbarian, Necro, Druid,
Got it.
Crusader? What's the other class?
Rogue.
I said it. Rogue, Necro,
Oh.
Barbarian,
Yeah, it's the first one.
Druid, Source. Stupid.
Sorceress.
Source.
Source.
Those 5.
Yeah, they had the.
So
monk
they
in
still
D3,
don't
you
have-
could've put it in the game.
So Sword and Board technically won't be
$60.
coming to the game as far as like the Crusader class. For Diablo, they've been working on a new class to add to Immortal, which they thought might be the last class for D4, which is the Blood Knight. So the Blood Knight, as far as internal leaked source material, this is a class that they have been working on. And then you have the Monk class. In chat, they are talking about like what, adding like a priest. Is that what it is? Like a priest class, a cleric class. So there's
Cleric.
lots of different stuff that they can do, and they've been very clear with monetization. That was the last video I made for D4. Was
They said that before.
MT? Yeah, I know. Seriously, MTX
They say a lot of
will be cosmetic only. The game will be a fully priced AAA title, and it will have optional future expansion purchases, DLCs. So,
Like D3,
It's what they're.
D2.
It's what-
exactly like the
it's-
Necro expansion for D3 or, Bale for
The-
D2.
Right.
yeah,
It's a
was
little
it
unsettling.
the way they did on PC, it was a Necro expansion, and then there was the expansion that had the 5th act. There were 2 expansions. One of them just gave you the Necro and some goodies, and the other gave you the 5th act.
But one,
The Reaper.
yeah, the Reaper of Souls.
Yeah.
Angmar in chat says Crusader, Demon Hunter, Monk, Witch Doctor. I think the Demon Hunter is a rogue class, so that's technically in the game, and Witch Doctor was always the idea for like kind of a necro class, so I think you don't ever see those classes again. Crusader, Monk, Blood Knight. I see Crusader, Monk, and Blood Knight coming in.
Maybe DLCs down the road if it does successful, and they can add, the people start ankling for more classes. Have some in the backup.
Okay.
Maybe.
Let's switch over to PvP for D4. Okay. Do you guys know how it works?
I know how they've claimed it works.
Do you know how they've claimed it works and the video they've showed of it?
But yeah, but I don't know if that. I don't see. That's the thing. We've seen developers stage these videos before.
This game is.
I'm not saying it is, but
it's actually funny too because they say the game has to release within a year, which is 12 months, based upon what was said during the stream. But then I read that means they have to start beta by June of next year. So likely it'll be June 10th, 2023, day one of limited this one country beta. Like you could see that happening for sure.
30 of you get to play beta closed. Can't talk about it.
And we're good.
I was going to say about all the transactions and stuff. So how they're stating what they're going to add to Diablo 4 is kind of scary. We're going to have costumes. We're going to have MTX for that.
Well, that's fine.
They don't quite say we're not doing this. They just
that's
don't.
True.
No. They have. So now after Diablo Immortal, they have come out and said you cannot buy power in D4. And they changed it.
The issue wasn't buying power. The issue was them designing the game to be addictive on the monetization.
Well, in Diablo 4 Immortal, in Diablo Immortal, you didn't technically buy it. You got chances to get it because you paid to get chances.
Let me break it down. Wyatt Chang said you cannot buy gear in Diablo Immortal. And that's when this whole thing started because he's like,
it's a lie.
You said you can't buy gear. What about legendary gems? Well, I didn't say legendary gems. I didn't say.
That's what I'm saying.
That's where he lied.
Exactly. So, but with D4, from that whole fiasco, they have now changed the terminology and said, in no way can you buy power, which is what it was like.
That's not the issue. The issue I have with the game isn't that you could buy power. You can do that in Lost Ark, and that's fine. The issue is them engineering it to prey upon persons of a certain type that cannot help but pay. And they do exist, and it's not whales. And they could easily do that with MTX that skins.
Well, I mean, yeah, if it's the Fortnite where you have 50 or 500 different backpacks and 500 different gliders and 500 different costumes and 500 different pickaxes.
Right. And you get a little red button to click every time you don't do something. But
or what was it? Call of Duty or Battlefield added the MTX where you can get like a red dot on your site. Anyways, actually, I'm not okay with that. But if they want to have 500 different ways to dress your source,
Zero Rising is right. All that can change when Microsoft takes over.
Hi, Zero Rising.
Well, they successfully brought themselves back into the spotlight. Not the best way possible.
It was almost like, hey, let's dig our hole so bad in Diablo Immortal that now when D4 comes out, they're going to be like, well, at least it's better than that.
They didn't just dig one grave. They dug a graveyard.
Well, they needed they're going to have a lot of necros, so they need dead people to...
There it is.
PvP in D4. You are going to have specific places on the map where you can go. When you enter this area, you could just start wailing on people. It's like going hostile and leaving rogue encampment and just attacking people in D2, right?
Right.
And the idea is that as you kill people, you'll gain this certain type of currency or this certain type of material. And then you have to go to the well to turn them in. And then once you do that, you get like rewards for it. So not only do you have to go into these fields of chaos or misery or whatever they're called and kill people, you then have to go and purify them. which means, you know, and this is what I don't like. I feel like, well, I'll just stand next to the well, and then when someone goes to turn them in, I'll gank them, steal them all, and then I'll turn them in. So it's like it's a twofold system with PvP, but that's what it is. But it's 100% optional because you won't have to travel through that zone if you don't want to. Daft thoughts?
I'm fine with that, I guess. Just the option. 'Cause I'm not a huge PvP player. I like it, but in controlled groups of known players, that kind of vibe. But I think it makes it better as far as casual players who don't want to deal with that and just focus on the the PvE and just grouping up and doing that. I don't know. What do you think personally? What do you like about it?
I think that it's like I'm bored and I'm gonna go pick on people lower than me. I'm level 60, Paragon 50, and I'm gonna go to the first level that you can go to, and when level
PvP
level 15 is gonna walk in, and my skeletons are gonna go slap, dead. I mean, I'm not gonna do that.
Did you play PvP in D3?
No, I
was there.
I don't know if anyone actively does. It's not.
Is there even is there?
I think my ideal PvP setup is Guild Wars. How Guild Wars 2, how they have it set up. So you can either do the scaled, everybody's level 75 or 80, whatever the cap is now, when you can just go in at level 1 and you get all the skills access and all the things. Or you can go out on the or they don't call it RVR, they call it GVG, Guild Wars.
GVG, yeah.
The GVG. They call it where you're roaming with, in a open area with multiple level characters in groups and stuff like that. So I did both of those, and that was my favorite part of doing PvP was that, and then Dark Age Camelot. But that's too far removed.
I'll be talking about Guild Wars 2 later on, in another segment. But yeah, it's a good game, and both of those games are good, and they both do PvP well. PvP I don't think was done well, and obviously not in D3. And I think D4 realizes that. It was like they just tacked the system on in D3, and it's just you're in it wasn't good. I'd go in there with like my girlfriend's brother and abuse him.
Robo in chat said there's a battleground in D3. You talk to the NPC in New Tristram, it's horrible. It's horrible.
He's right. It's terrible.
It's horrible.
Sounds hard.
It's just bad. They didn't really. They took they reused the setting, and it's not very big, and that's it. You're just there.
You know what I really hated about D3 is how they butchered the cow level, man. Why didn't they just redo a cool cow level?
It's not as grand as the original cow level. What do you think they'll do the cow level for D4?
They are gonna do a cow level for sure.
They have
it's gonna
to.
like
They have to.
the whole point of D4 is return to darkness. So like they're gonna do a souped up, very cool cow level. If they didn't, they're stupid. Well, we know they're stupid. You know what I mean? That would be a very poor
Based
decision.
on the last few years, pretty sure we're already beyond that.
So for PvP, I just want to hit this home. I think I will have fun because I'll be streaming D4 and then I'll get bored and I'll be like, waypoint, PvP zone. All right, let's see what we can do. And I think that'll be fun. Or, obviously we're playing the game as a community. I don't know what the maximum group sizes will be. Probably anywhere from 4 to 8 people. Hey, let's get a hunting party together, right? And then you just go in and mop up.
Right.
I mean, that's actually kind of how I see it, is like there'll probably be a group of people literally just standing in that area waiting for people to enter. And they're just killing over and over and over and over and over again.
I can see it.
And it's like, okay, switch to your PvP builds. Let's see if we could knock this group out of here.
Right.
Again, if it's no risk, not like they can steal your stuff or that kind. I mean, that might be fun, but it will for sure not be balanced in any way.
It won't be fun in any way.
I mean, it didn't make any balancing in D3's what they called PvP. It was just like, this guy's a paragon and this guy's not. This guy wins. One hit. They have a lot to think about with past failures. For instance, the PvP in D3 was terrible, although admittedly people didn't really care about it because PvP wasn't even a concern. But now it is. People want it, and they're going to be competing with other games that are already out that have PvP as a base.
You think about it, when did PvP become so important for ARPGs?
Recently. Like it's a recent thing for ARPGs, I think. For MMOs, no, but for an ARPG.
Yeah, MMOs, obviously, but
it's supposed to be part MMO.
It's basically Lost Ark. It is an MMO ARPG. Yeah. And the reason why it is more MMO now compared to ARPG is because it's open world and it's non-linear pathing, which means you could do this part of the campaign first and then you could jump to this. Where a normal ARPG, it paths you through the story kind of one direction, where...
I mean, as long as they don't have the eye level like they do in Lost Ark and Destiny and even Diablo Immortal.
That's not the name of the game.
Isn't it though?
I'm pretty sure it's the name of the game.
Is it?
I'm fairly certain.
I was digging through my stuff and I came across this. Never been used, which is even sadder. My D3 Collector's Edition.
I saw that, actually.
I was really excited when the game came out.
Says pay $5.99 to summon the raid boss.
I know. Hey, it's not pay to win. And this right here is my StarCraft 2 original unopened collector's pack. It's the Terran, Wings of Terran. I don't know.
It's become a thing. I think we're going to all start competing for
no,
cool
you have
stuff
more.
in the
You have
background.
way more crap back there.
I have older stuff. I have to modernize. It's all like D&D stuff and like
D&D's,
board games.
Isn't it? It's not from the 70s.
You got all kinds of crap back. You look like a hoarder.
This
Small
side.
World.
Oh, wait. This side.
Oh, I see. I think I see StarCraft.
That side.
I see StarCraft and World of Warcraft, right?
Yeah, right next to it. And then above Small World is a bunch of D&D pamphlet or modules from 2nd edition.
All right. Sticking with D4. This is something that pisses me off, okay? And I know people aren't going to like this opinion. I don't want to see horses or mounts in this game. After World of Warcraft, that getting the custom horse or getting the damn lion to ride on or whatever it is going to be a huge moneymaker. If it's truly an action RPG game, you don't need mounts because you use town portals, you use waypoints, your gear gives you movement skills, your skills have movement skills on them. I hate seeing horses in the game. Guilty, I'm giving you this one first.
It's an MMO. I don't expect it to be an ARPG of any sort. I think it's going to be that in name only. You're right when you said it's going to be Lost Ark. I really don't want to see a gear level system because then it wouldn't be like a traditional ARPG. It'd be more like Destiny or Lost Ark.
And people are going to be riding ostriches and
motorcycles.
And
they'll be
phoenixes
riding motorcycles.
and
This is Blizzard, and they already have the models.
They do.
They're going to take the mounts collection of yesteryear, spruce it up, and stick it in this game.
Robo says, I think the horses are used for meat.
Ask
the butcher. That's funny. We were filming the last podcast for Patreon, and we were talking about how in Diablo Immortal, they just took old bosses from D3 and put it in. Not even an hour later, I fought the butcher. It's freaking terrible.
Yeah, we were making fun of the Skeleton King being the first boss. They even made a joke.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how often that works. I'm like, oh, that's really funny. No, it's not.
No, it's tired. But whatever.
Daft.
Their game.
Horses,
What?
D4.
Horses. I didn't ride mounts on Lost Ark.
That's crazy.
I had them.
I wouldn't
but I never
move
used
4
them.
inches without going to my mount.
I
and then-
was
It's like a
always
requirement.
gathering or makokoing, and if I had to just go across, I would just teleport and do that thing, and so I just never found myself needing to go from one place to the other. The only time I actually did it is when we were grouped up out in the open world, and I'd keep up. But yeah, I'm just not a huge mount fan. They're cool
But I
looking.
had a turtle.
Just never use them.
Okay.
I rode a turtle.
Somebody
turtle, I
watching
had
in
all
chat, can
type.
you Google if D4's mounts will give power or have gear? I'm very... Who put that in chat? JFF? Imagine if they're going to put the power level so to limit what you can do in progress. I could see that possible.
That could be.
I'm wondering if your horse will kind of be like your mercenary, where you can level it up and it actually adds...
It's gonna be like an MMO, and you're gonna get on it and ride it, just like in Lost Ark. It's not a big, like, that's probably it in a nutshell.
I will say the only thing that I'm okay with the mounts is you will have a specific dismount skill for each class. So if
That
you're
would be
riding
cool.
into combat, you will jump off your horse and do something and then start
a
fighting.
dismount attack type
Yes.
You got to ask yourself, would
Pretty
that
cool.
take effort?
I think from memory, a couple of years ago, they said they might
Yeah.
have storage slots on the horse.
Well,
thing. We're paying to win.
Well, I used to love-
to not have to sell
Going
every
the
5
PoE
minutes.
route.
No, I call that the torchlight route, where you could store stuff on your pets and then click go to town and sell it, and then your little pet flies away and goes and sells your stuff, so you don't have to go to town. I really like that quality of life. It was like one of the few things. Torchlight
Right.
has its wins here and there.
It's not. I've played mostly Torchlight modded.
Torchlight's not a bad game. Torchlight 3
Modded.
was an unfinished game that they
Yeah.
scrambled up and then pushed out because they spent money on it.
By the way, I am currently in the process of signing a contract with Torchlight Infinite,
Yep. That's
Yes,
the
you
thing.
are.
so we'll see.
New things coming up. See
I
where
know.
that goes.
Yeah. It could be a really fun game.
But it's the
Any
same
game
thing.
has a
It's a
chance to,
mobile.
but-
I mean, it is fun, but it's also mobile, and they're doing the port thing just like Immortal. I almost said
but
Immoral.
They're not going to do it like Immoral. Like, because people learn. This one is the one they jumped into deep end before everybody else.
Guilty.
And
I don't know
everyone
if
else
this is
like,
gonna.
oh, that looked terrible.
Guilty. I don't know if this is gonna make you feel happy. It probably will.
Uh-oh.
What game has more viewers on Twitch right now? Diablo Immortal, a Blizzard game that just came out with lots of hype, or PoE?
Oh, both games are okay. Both games have
PoE's
a fan base.
mid.
But PoE is probably not going to be watched because there was a bunch of people that didn't like the season. I liked the season. I thought the drone thing was cool.
I'll ask the question again because you didn't answer. On Twitch right now, what has more viewers,
I said
PoE
Diablo
or
Immortal, the first thing.
That's what he said.
PoE?
Yeah, you didn't even have to think about it. You didn't even have to say the game.
PoE. How many weeks is
Is
it
it
into
really?
its league? Well, I mean, this was an hour ago, so I don't know if my data's still good. On Twitch, before we started this, Diablo Immortal had 7,000 viewers. PoE had 9. Now,
well, yeah.
Diablo Immortal at one point had 100,000 viewers on Twitch.
So you got a bunch of people that wanted to play ARPGs, and then they found out it wasn't an ARPG, and they went to the best ARPG. The ones that were willing to.
Could you imagine going from PoE to Diablo Immortal on PC?
That's like going to playing
kinda did.
an average adult board game and then going to the preschool version.
That's
Same
like
game.
totaling your Ferrari and realizing all you have money for is a bike. So now you're riding
Right.
your bike everywhere.
Horrid.
Like
Yeah.
one of those 3-wheel bikes that have rust all over it.
My wife has a 3-wheel bike. What's your problem?
Does it have rust all over it?
No, it has a basket in the back.
Oh, that sounds nice.
It's a
It
giant
is
tricycle.
nice. But it's not as
If it
nice
was
as a
rusty.
Ferrari. Okay.
I wouldn't think so. But if it was, gosh.
Oh, what's up, Dark?
Are you saying Path of Exile is a Ferrari?
I have said this for a long time, even though I don't play currently. Path of Exile, right now, whether you love it or hate it, you cannot argue that it is not King of the Mountain in ARPGs. It has 250,000 players at the beginning of every single league for a decade. And actually, most leagues, even though it's not by much, it will beat its old record. I think this last one, it's like 289, 290,000. And again,
Yeah.
what sucks about PoE is it really is like, 2 weeks in, it's down to, 10,000. But
AFF DI is nothing like Grim Dawn. It is zero like Grim Dawn. They're not even in the same universe.
Yeah,
you know what? I
agree.
think it's like Grim Dawn.
I think I have to buy a plane ticket.
You're not allowed in Idaho. It's too cool for you. Too cold. That's what I meant to say.
It must be. It must be.
We don't want those Florida people in here.
You must
Grim
bring
Dawn
potatoes.
requires a time investment before you actually can sink into it. Once you hit level 100, then you can actually start playing the game. Once you hit ultimate level 100 and get everyone good and mad at you.
JFF just said that Grim Dawn is crap. No, he didn't say that. I'm just kidding.
No, he did not say that.
I know he didn't say that.
I'm not looking.
I don't know. Guilty just went straight to start drinking now that
Cuts
Grim
me
Dawn
deep.
entered the conversation.
Cuts
There
me
you go,
deep.
Dark.
What do you drink? What is that in there? Coke?
That is, it's adult Coke.
Adult
Coca-Cola.
Coke. I'm drinking water because Dark's on stream and I don't want him getting mad at me.
I got look at this. This is actual water bottle.
That's vodka in that bottle.
That's
look at
vodka.
that. That's
Summer Game Fest 2022. I'm going to switch gears off Diablo for a second. Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk about something no one's going to expect. Stormgate. Yes.
Look that up. It looks
Yes.
good. I haven't
We
seen
got an
much.
opening cinematic trailer and we
Yeah.
got 12 seconds of gameplay.
Yeah.
And we
not
got a
much.
website and a Steam page and a sign up for beta, which I've signed up for and got my confirmation email. So
Nice.
if you
The
don't know,
thing it
When's-
has going for it is
Oh, it
we
doesn't even
trust
say.
those developers.
Beta in 2023.
I know the beta's in such a long time.
That means they want it to actually be decent
that's-
before they
that's-
release it.
That's perfectly fine.
I mean, I
Um,
honestly
I
am
trust
thinking,
these
of
devs. They
I don't
made
know if
good
they were
things
ever
in
going to
the
release a
past.
game, so I'll take beta in 2023.
Right. Well, it's all the devs that left, right? Blizzard and such
well,
other
it's-
companies
it's
and formed
Blizzard
like
North.
a super company.
The two
Um,
main owners are the creator of StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3 from Blizzard North. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So prior Activision devs, which normally is like, I mean, that's got to be one of the best things you could put on a resume. Blizzard
devs.
North
This was
employee
that was before Activision, right?
and before Microsoft.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
Microsoft might come in and be like, "Look, you guys are acting a fool."
Yes. From now on, you have
is-
to eat synthetic meat because that's what Bill Gates.
Well, I mean, DI is synthetic meat.
I guess that's true.
This
Yes.
is true.
All right. Note to
fact.
self: never put crap with Grim Dawn. No. You're fine. You could put that in there. I like making him upset. He's like he was playing Grim Dawn earlier.
I was. It is better than many games that are being released currently.
Right.
RTS is not a dying genre. Okay, I need to say that to the people watching.
It's all my
Blizzard.
support.
This is
I
how
don't
I'm
think it's
segueing because I'm
dying.
keeping
I think it went through
Blizzard.
that part.
Keeping Blizzard in the conversation. Blizzard, I think it was maybe about a year ago, said StarCraft 3 is not happening. Moreover, we are basically getting rid of the RTS department for StarCraft. It'll have minor improvements, but the game is pretty much as it is finished. Why is that? Because in RTS there is no money. You cannot pay for power or the cash shop in RTS. And really, you can't really pay for cosmetics either, because that's kind of weird, right? Like, you change the way your units look. I feel like that.
Oh, you could do that. The Tyranid or whatever they're going to be, the not Zerg, you can make them look any way you want. Any color you want, hot pink.
How do you counter a unit if it looks different and you don't know what it does?
Hey, just change the colors on it. Like, for instance, in the Warhammer 40k universe, if the Gene Stealer is blue or pink, I still know it's a Gene Stealer.
Logic. I mean, makes enough sense.
They come in blue and pink.
I don't like it. Anyways, the point is,
I think it would be fun.
Blizzard knew that younger generations want instant gratification. They want Fortnites, they want shooters, they want Diablos, they want Overwatches. They want that style of content. They want to be able to put in huge cash shops. And they know that StarCraft 3 will sell a lot of copies, but that residual revenue just won't be there. So it's
not as marketable as said other genres of games. That's 100% sure.
Yep. So, I mean, I have 4 kids. They don't play RTS. None of their friends play RTS. I'm going to guess, Daft, you? No?
What was the last RTS game that was made?
I do play RTS, but not as much as I used to play them all the time. And now I play them on occasional. Maybe once a month I'd pull out one of the oldies or play the Command and Conquer reboot they did and just kind of go through a bunch of campaigns. You
can't expect a child to watch Chevy Chase movies. Just like you can't expect them to play video games that were made before they were born.
You know, I will say my 16-year-old has seen every cult classic for 70s, 80s, and 90s, only listens to classic rock music, and hates pretty much everything modern with the exception of shooter games. So
those aren't modern.
You're saying he's an old soul.
Forever.
Yeah, he's an old soul.
Remember Doom in the 90s?
Literally, if you ever met him, he literally wears like the same shirts. It's like classic Predator or like classic Ghostface or like like
that's good
Terminator stuff.
What he likes.
We can say Ghostface is classic now.
I think so.
That says a lot.
90s, right? Dark. I was just gonna say that Starship Troopers dropping an RTS. The last one that I played religiously was Dawn of War. That was the last game I played. I thought that game was I thought they did a good job on that.
Dawn of War 1 and 2 were good. 3,
I never played 3.
We should play 3 just so you can see.
I mean, we watched the dude streaming it that one time.
Yeah, we did, and I'm still subbed to him because that's what I do.
You're
I'm sure he's happy. I'm sure he's happy. Give it a try.
I remember that.
It's not exactly like 1 and 2. It's a little bit more shallow, but it's still an RTS and it's still halfway decent.
Does Stormgate have a chance? A brand new RTS built upon Unreal Engine 5 that is going to have 3-player co-op campaign or 1v1 competitive?
I think it does, because you have a lot of old heads that like them, and if something comes out that's genuine and fun and engaging and has a good loop, I think it'd be fine, because there is that whole esports thing they're kind of trying to aid, edging towards it. So
it would be perfect for esports. They just haven't had a new title for it. That's why people aren't playing. That's why kids don't play it. There's no new title for it.
Right. They're actually designing the game from the back to be up for esports. So like that means it's got to be completely balanced, right? You can't have bad balance in competitive games. So
I mean,
we'll see.
The thing, I guess the closest thing that esports has to like an RTS currently is the MOBA. Dota and League of Legends are the closest. They're real-time combat. This is going to take people who like that style of complexity, because those games can be complex. It's like really fast-paced, strategic gameplay. Well, if you have to worry about more than just one avatar, that makes it way more complex. You're going to see people probably dive in like head first.
Dark says in chat that Stormgate will be a top 5 on Twitch. I would love
Oh, I agree with him.
to believe that,
No, I agree with him.
but I don't think so.
No, this is
depends.
why it's going to be a top 5, because it is going to get picked up by these professional game teams.
Right. If it's, if it plays
Like
well.
we've got 3 or 4 in
But
Florida
like an
alone
Asmongold's
that
not going to
it.
play Stormgate.
Huh?
I don't know.
Name a professional game team I could look up on Twitch right now. You don't know any,
We've got like 4 in the state alone.
but those like pop culture people aren't going to be playing Stormgate.
Why not?
I don't know. Oh yeah, and it's
They
also
could.
now this is something interesting
depends.
about this new RTS in development. It's also going to be free to play, which I hate that.
Right.
I hate.
Wait. What? Well, that's good. So is League of Legends and so is Dota.
Right.
That's even more reason for these teams to pick it up.
They said 100% free to play. You will not be able to
Right.
buy power in any way, and there won't be any NFTs.
Yeah.
Which I
how
feel
they
like
added
this is
that.
a studio we have to
Now
trust
they
them
have to
because
add
they haven't given us a reason to
Exactly.
not trust them yet.
No, they haven't made. They've only made good choices as
So far.
developers. Like
The next
the games
RTS
they've
that'll
made were
actually, the next big RTS I think that will come before Stormgate is Company of Heroes 3. So
It's
that
a decent series.
So that's a pretty decent series in RTS. The third installment looks pretty good, and it doesn't. I think that's coming out fairly soon.
It almost feels like RTS is slowly making a surge back, not a comeback, but there's games coming out and they're, different. They're not all fantasy. They're kind of spreading them out. So I've seen or heard of like 5 in the last couple of years. So
clothing makes its rounds too. So games, why wouldn't that be any different?
Because if you
Like,
don't have, when you make a new RTS, you want me or Ingwar to play it. It's not targeted for kids, and that's what's so
I
hard.
mean, it's not targeting at kids. These people, it's targeting at people with a strategic mindset. That just
Okay.
happens to be the professional gamer.
I'll rephrase. Have
Right.
you ever tried to play RTS on a controller with a console?
Well, they don't do it with Dota either. Not sure what the argument is.
The point is, kids play on their Xbox and PS5.
But they see
My
when you
son
put $1
plays on a
million
computer, though.
reward
There
at
are-
the end
there
of
are
it, like
there.
they do Dota and League of Legends. I mean, that's what's going to pull them in. Is
But those
they're
games have
gonna a
also been out for a
competition.
decade.
Yeah, but they've been doing that for a decade.
They have established teams and player bases. Somebody's thinking
do
right
that.
now, hey, do we try and make the next Apex or do we try to make the next StarCraft? All right, let's put up a T-chart and weigh the positives and negatives. You know which way that's going to go.
I'm willing to bet it's going to surprise you.
No, it's not.
I mean,
Let's go
He's-
back
he's
and watch
whacked.
every stream for Summer Game Fest and we'll see how many were in a first-person view with a character that shoots something.
right.
And then we'll
See,
go
that's
back to
the
an
thing.
isometric army base view. And it'll be
I don't
1
think
versus
that those-
200.
Right, yeah, but the thing that made Dota and League of Legends and these other games that are being played by these professional teams popular was the fact that they were winning money and then it was being televised or streamed online.
Fortnite has tournaments.
Yes, it does, and they win money.
Yes.
Frost Giant are basically the old team, right? It will be great. Yes, X. It is Blizzard North Warcraft 3 developer and StarCraft 2 developer. And this is supposed to be a competitive esports game. Now, in the last podcast, I talked about anytime a studio refers to a game that they want it to be for esports, that means they have to have it balanced. And for RTS, it has to be a balanced game. So the one thing that kind of sucks is they said that competitively it'll only be 1v1. I don't like that. I always like having a partner, like, hey, do you guys down for some 2v2?
Wait,
They could
it's only-
expand
it's
upon
only
that.
1v1.
They haven't said that it's only 1v1, but in both videos, so for 2 different streams, they said 3-player co-op campaign and competitive 1v1. So they did say
It might not
specifically
be.
1v1.
They say at launch. This
They
will be
didn't
the
say
state of the game.
specifically
They
it'll
didn't
only be 1v1,
either.
but that's all
Right,
they actually
right.
said.
Well, Spice Wars, it launched solo, single play, and it is going to get, multiplayer eventually, probably at 1.0.
You know what was a fun game that I would have played a lot more if it had multiplayer? Rift Breaker. Did any of you guys ever play Rift Breaker or the demo for it?
Yeah,
No.
I had the demo for it.
That was like the isometric Diablo meets StarCraft game where you build a base, but then you also go out and have to slay tons of hack and slash machine gun enemies. That was pretty fun.
It was a kind of a weird marriage of games. It worked, but I didn't play it long.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It didn't stick with me. But it was fun, for what it was.
Street Fighter 6 coming out. Which character do you pick?
Street Fighter 6. Well, Guile looks like a barrel.
He does.
He looks like a barrel with like arms.
He's like original
He's
Arnold.
Massive.
Yeah, he's jacked.
He's like current Sylvester Stallone.
Who do you pick?
I don't want to pick him. He looks like he's too slow.
I'll go first. Blanca.
I mean,
I don't even know if
usually
Blanca's in the
do.
game, but Blanca's my character, and then I actually play Guile, and then I play Balrog. So my
I
three.
Zangief.
Chun-Li.
Zangief
Go Chun-Li.
sucks. You'll never get close enough.
I mean, now that Guile is the size of Zangief,
Then I wonder how big Zangief's going to be.
I hope they make him
Yeah.
smaller.
Yes, Guile is back, Dark. It's not Charlie, who's Guile's brother. Or cousin. I
Yeah.
don't remember what it is. I used to be big into Street Fighter. I was always Team Street
I was
Fighter over
too.
Team Mortal Kombat for one reason. Mortal Kombat, there's a button to block. I always hated that.
Yes.
Where in
There is
Street
the
Fighter,
block.
you just go backwards. You just hold
Backwards.
back to block. Mortal Kombat,
So
you got to
there's
hit a
a-
button to block.
Right.
Like that. Always hated that.
You're still giving a command to block.
Yeah, but it's like back. It's like movement compared to like you are not a gamer. Sorry, you're not a
Oh.
fighter. You don't play fighters.
I automatically view the shoulder
Don't talk.
button as block.
Balrog's real name is Vega. No, it isn't.
Vega wasn't that M Bison. They switched their names on the original. Like M Bison was originally Vega,
I think you're.
think so.
Isn't it Sagat? No.
or it's no. What's they switched the name because of something on the first game or the second game. You should probably research that and talk about that.
Yeah, I had the most time on my Dreamcast was probably when I was playing them the most, so the 90s, and it would have been Soul Calibur.
Oh,
Would have been the
Soul
one
Calibur.
I put
I
the
know that
most
game.
time into. Yeah.
Lawful Scheme says non-gamer guilty. Why is he
I
here?
know. Yeah, I know.
No idea.
Me and wanting to hit the shoulder button to block like a normal human being.
Balrog is not a wrestler. He's a boxer.
Correct.
Right.
Come on, X. Wrestler would be Zangief.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Bison was Balrog.
Was Bison Balrog? I knew there was a name change.
Guilty. I like your beanie tonight. You're looking.
I like it too.
You're looking good with that beanie. Okay.
Yeah.
Diablo Immortal. I think we hit on all points on that. We didn't miss anything, right? And PoE was beating it on Twitch last time I saw it, which means that game has gone up and it's
PoE is
dropped
an
down
actual
the mountain.
ARPG. Like it's an actual ARPG. It has actual depth.
Vega and
Not really
Balrog, I
surprising.
think
It's okay.
was-
Actually, it's
No worries.
Oh man, sorry, haven't played in decades. It's fine.
Most of the Street Fighter I played was in the arcades at the pizza places and stuff, so I didn't
Yeah,
really
you
play
had to
too
put
much
your
on
quarters
console.
up for next.
Yes, sir. Put it on the board. Boop.
So
right.
the game that I liked had like a blood code, and parents were upset about it, and there were fatalities.
Dark. I'm gonna put Dark on blast right now. In chat, he put me on stream. LOL, I live for video game land. This is an open invitation for next Tuesday night. I'll create a square for you right there if you want to come on stream. Put your money where your mouth is. No way you do it. Even if you say yes, you're gonna flake. You know it, and I know it. Oh, Waffles heard it.
Yep.
I mean, granted, I'll probably be kicked off of every thing after you get me banned, but that's
that is
okay.
A possibility.
It'll be worth it. It'll totally be worth
2-0
it.
snaps. 2-0 in his Speedo.
We can do the last 15
now you
minutes.
have to do it in your Speedo. You
He'll be
called
in his
it out.
Speedo in his little hot tub or whatever.
No, I don't. I want to see him in a Speedo, no hot tub, standing up.
No, you don't.
Won't. He won't do it. He won't do it.
I don't want this channel to get banned. See, he's already flaking on it.
The channel won't get banned. You'll be clothed, kind of. And you need a cape, a Speedo and a cape.
He
The
won't.
thing.
He won't do it.
Twitch has me on
I mean,
a
if
watch
he does
list.
do it, I'm gonna
On
be
a
super
watch
happy.
list.
I believe it.
I'll be super happy.
Okay, last topic of this podcast. All right, I'm gonna hit you guys with a curveball that I didn't tell you we were gonna talk about. Are you ready for this?
Boy.
If D4 truly launches, whether it's like an open beta for everybody to join in June of next year or not, what does this do for the release of Last Epoch? Daft, you're first.
I think if they release at the same time, Last Epoch is going to have a hard time making any impact directly, because you're going to have the fans of Last Epoch playing, and then you're almost all of them just by default are also fans of Diablo, just by default. So I think if it's at the same time, they'll both get their game, and as the negative flux that will happen on Diablo 4's release in the first month because of whatever balance or whatever it is, then they'll get disgruntled and go straight to Last Epoch and have a much different experience and maybe stay there because it's a little more genuine and feeling. That's kind of my gut feeling. I don't know if they can go toe to toe though. Like, just
basically, Angwar in
numbers.
chat just said LE will struggle, guilty.
Well, I agree with Angwar. The reason LE will struggle is because it does not have the name recognition that Blizzard has, had its success with the Diablo in the past. It's like it's
Blizzard has their Diablo. It's generations. That's
right. Children that don't know what ARPGs are know what Diablo is, or at least they've heard the name.
And that's like my son. My son loves Diablo 3. It's only one he's ever played.
So it doesn't matter if Diablo 4 is as good as a Last Epoch or not, and that's unfortunate because that's not how games are judged.
Not at all. How many people will be streaming Diablo versus streaming Last Epoch?
Lost Epoch could come out, or Last Epoch could come out. Last Epoch could come out and be incredible. Like we could have been playing a warm-up game and not even know it, because 1.0 is a lot different than probably what we're playing.
Yep.
Right. And the fact that it's an ARPG geared for multiplayer, which is probably the first true ARPG geared for multiplayer, is going to be overlooked because name.
Right.
And it's essentially, like we've already talked about it, it's essentially Lost Ark. It's at least what it looks like. And I think there should be a distinction made. Like, we're taking D4 into that realm, and other ARPGs are in a different. They're not even in the same ballpark anymore.
D4 can almost be like a game, the game of the century, at least in people's minds, right?
It could be.
It doesn't matter
be a very good game though.
If LE dropped 1.0 and PoE 2 dropped PoE 2.2 and D4 dropped all on the same day, D4 probably still combined has more players. Agreed?
I would say, because of name recognition. This is how, as many things as Blizzard has done in the past 4 to 5 years, everyone's still willing to give them $60.
Yeah.
Like, they've done really bad things, and we're all like, oh, it's okay, we'll give them $60, and we'll give them 60 more when that DLC comes out. That's how much we want Diablo.
And I feel like compared to any other game, compared to Warcraft, World of Warcraft, Overwatch, right? These huge titles that they have, people will still play Diablo. The other ones they might say, no. But Diablo, they'll come back for.
I think Last Epoch is going to be a sleeper, where it'll get through. It won't have all the hype. It won't have the big direct attention. So essentially, they'll have an easier time, I think, with their launch than Diablo will, if they're concurrent. So if the mass public's on them, that leaves the majority of mass public off of Last Epoch, which means that they'll have less of the let's hate the game train that Diablo is going to inevitably get, because that's the other thing. If you're the bigger game, you're going to get the bigger hate train. So it's a big thing. But I think it'll sleep and then kind of like ride out as the rest there, as they kind of die down. This other game, which is probably had a couple patches at this point, is a little cleaner. Maybe the multiplayer is working really well. It'll shine through right afterwards. Like, that's kind of how I see it work.
Ingwar wrote in chat my exact feelings. Ellie needs to release first. Oh, wait. Ellie needs... Someone typed a lot and I lost what he said. He said, Ellie needs to release first to establish its player base before D4 launches. Because this is what happens. Ellie releases in March and it gets 50,000, 100,000 players. Okay? The game's fun. The game's solid. It gets, you get the Zizzerins and you got all these other mildly large people playing it. And it establishes a player base. D4 comes out. Everybody, regardless of how much you love LE, jumps to D4. And the servers crash and it's not as fun and you're getting ganked in PvP and you don't like the cash shop and you hate the mounts and you hate that it's open world. It feels like an MMO. It doesn't feel like an ARPG. So what do? Screw this. I'm going back to the game that's a true action RPG LE. They have to get it out as soon as possible. And I've talked to the developers already. They're not stupid. One of the smartest studios and one of the smaller studios, and they get it. I'm a little scared they might cut some corners to get it released to the public. So maybe not everything we want gets in at the initial launch.
We love you, Tencent.
Yeah, they need that 10-cent money.
We do love you, 10 cents.
We love 10 cent. And if they get it out quick enough, they could still be successful. Because people are waiting for another game. We know PoE 2 is not coming. We know D4 is at bare minimum a year out. And what is there in between? There's nothing. Nothing.
Okay, so here's a thought. But Last Epoch launches in the same fashion that the original Path of Exile launched. And it slow burns to the top of the mountain.
I mean, yeah.
It's a possibility. It could. Because it's an actual ARPG and not a MMO.
Yeah, and even though the people didn't, like 11th Hour Games, the studio is not deprived of developers that are from Blizzard North.
Right.
But the whole point of this game is, can we make a true successor to D2? That was the whole point of Last Epoch. It was a post off Reddit. Can we make the next actual D3, but our own style? And that's why you see trading is going to be all internal loot filter, true campaign, true lore. They're putting out art books and lore books and boss fights, and they're going to have multiplayer coming out and lots of different stuff to do, including, in my opinion, one of the best skill tree systems I've ever seen. Maybe not.
It's
rather nice.
Way better than what we got in the most recent Diablo.
So much better. It's so much better.
Their skill tree is well thought out. And the fact that they're building an ARPG to be multiplayer says a lot. Now, if you want to build an MMO to be multiplayer and then have a gear score, that's fine. Don't call it an ARPG.
Mike
might come up a new game name or genre name come out for that.
Mike, the senior developer that streams every Friday, was asked last week,
action MMO.
Is there one thing that you guys regret? And his answer was not starting with multiplayer. We should have designed the game from the day one with multiplayer in mind instead of creating an amazing single player game and now having to convert that to multiplayer. So it's also kind of refreshing too to hear like, holy crap, this person is talking about actual faults that they feel like they made as a studio in a real way. It's like, when the hell was the last time that happened?
It's been a while.
It's been a long while.
When was the last time Blizzard did something that was good?
When was the last time that Blizzard devs connected with their community?
Been a
Don't
minute.
you have phones?
Oh,
That was connected.
BlizzCon 2018?
That was connecting. They connected. Struck a nerve.
Who is it in our
It
Discord that was at
connects.
BlizzCon 2000? Was that BizBear?
Busy Bear. Biz was he was there. He was present.
For BlizzCon
Basically,
2018?
And he Biz is an extreme like mythic raider in World of Warcraft, so he was there, and he got to see that in real life.
Isn't
Did
it so
he?
funny that he got to play what we get to play now, Diablo Immortal, for the demo for that BlizzCon? What a joke.
Oh
Oh.
yeah.
And
I
It was
bet
so
it's not the
innocent
same
back
thing.
then.
I bet it's not the
Innocence
same
was
thing. I
real.
bet the MTX was ripped out of it, and it was just like, here's
Well,
a piece of gear.
the demo for Diablo Immortal in 2018 showed a lot of like really cool features, like you actually using the environment to kill enemies. Like you bust through this
They
wall and then
rebuilt
the
that
rocks
game.
fall
Did-
on people. None of
Did
that
that
stuff is in
happen?
the game.
That would have been good
The
to be in
only
the game.
the only thing I noticed was the invisible walls that existed, and I was excited about that.
Oh, so you
I
mean the
found
1990s
invisible-
era invisible walls?
You're running along in a path, and it just I guess can't go that way.
That's great dev there. Oh my goodness.
Dude,
Just put,
watching
like,
him live on stage
rocks or-
is
You know,
it's still hard to watch where he's waiting for the applause and it's like crickets and he's like,
Don't you
sorry.
care?
Like he didn't know how to react because
Yeah.
he's never had like
Because he's not a PR guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but how can you be so disconnected to think that your most hardcore PC gaming fans in the world that expect D4, that flew out for this convention, that want to see the PC version, and then it's like,
So
Mobile.
he gets a paycheck. He gets a paycheck and didn't make that decision. The board of directors made that decision, and he had to like bite down on that sour apple. And he's like, I'm not a PR guy. Can you please put a PR guy out there? And they're like, no, you have to do this because we secretly hate you.
I never forget Jay
Just a
Wilson,
thought.
and you
Just a
guys will
thought.
love this X feature in D3. All the backlash from players. No, Jay, this is terrible. No, you players are wrong. And hey, guess what? The players were right. Yes!
Yeah, you guys don't want the original World of Warcraft. You don't know what you want.
Listen to me, because I know what you need.
I know what you want. Yeah. I've got that stuff you want. Trust me.
My biggest problem with
All of
D3 Dark is I don't. So Dark in chat put biggest issue with D3 was loot. From what I heard, I wasn't there day one. Well, D3 the biggest problem day one was the auction house. The auction house
fiasco.
that you could use real money.
Real
So you could just
money.
literally credit card. I want that sword, that helmet,
Mhm.
that body
And-
armor.
And how many years ago was this?
You just buy your build in day one. No, that's a
2011, 10.
Yeah, and
D3?
did they learn their lesson?
No, they
No.
didn't. They just
That's an
found a
11
different way to do it.
My son who's 12 was 1 when they first came across this mistake of whoops, players paying for gear is bad. And 11 years later,
2012.
whoops.
Dude, I
Oh,
was
yeah.
there
Okay.
in
Now 10
line,
years.
pre-ordered. Look at this, D3 Collector's Edition right there.
Yep. Mine, I don't have the collector's edition, but I do have the original CDs from my original box somewhere.
Oh, Dark, I've had that
It might be
conversation.
around, but
Ellie
yeah.
wouldn't be here if it wasn't for D3. No, that's not true. Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for D2. The other problem with Diablo 3 is sets. And I'm hoping that they fix this with D4. Last Epoch has learned from D3. If you have a 6-item set and you are required to wear all 6 items, that takes choice out of the equation. Because you have to find everybody that wants to do this build has to use these 6 same items. It takes build diversity out. That is why Last Epoch are switching the way sets are, and it's going to be small sets that do very specific things.
You can match your sets.
You could literally wear 4
like
different
max.
sets if you want to.
Right.
But the idea is
armor.
4 different items of the set, and 2 of the items give you a set bonus. So you can mix and match what gear it is so that you have uniques, rares, exalteds, sets, and legendaries on the same character. Smart.
To answer Dark, he says the Rift is really the end game.
Different.
Pretty much LE end game and the 2 dungeons. Well, the dungeons are different than Rifts.
And there's 3
mapping
dungeons.
is like more like Path of Exile mapping, and there's more than 2 dungeons. And then there's the arena. So there are more end game in Last Epoch currently than there is currently in D3.
Right now in Last Epoch, right now in Last Epoch in beta, you have Arena Champions, which has been completely redone. You have 3 end game dungeons that all give you unique reward, and you have the Monolith system, which is the never-ending web with boss fights, with Shade of Oribus fights, which is going to be getting also its own ladder, including the ladder and a secondary ladder for the arena. And they have 2 other endgame systems that are currently in the works. We don't know which ones are going to get in for 1.0, but way more endgame right now currently in LE than D3.
So
didn't Wilson struggle with endgame?
Wilson's all roads lead back to Wilson. Garbage. Even the new end game that Wilson introduced was just the same, just different. Same, but different, but still same. The pretty pictures on these UE5 titles, that's great, but I haven't seen a lot in the way of game design. Like a shooter is a shooter. It's a combat simulator. It's not really a game. So it takes a little bit of effort to make and actually design a game. I don't really care what the pictures look like. I'll still play Diablo 2 original. It's a better game than some of the ones we have today. I don't need the pretty pictures. UE5 does look like a really good engine.
Daft was playing D2R this week or last week.
Well,
I was playing it this morning, I
was playing it this morning.
I literally went from Diablo Immortal, and then Monday I woke up and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna play. I don't know. I'm done. I just done, and I loaded up Diablo 2 Resurrected, and it's been fun just doing a druid actually. Speaking to you, Guilty. Speaking to you.
Well, the new systems in it, the new ladder system and all that. That's new.
Yeah.
The game's old, but it's got new stuff in it now.
Yeah, you can.
But that system is new and fun. It didn't require a pretty picture. It didn't require like, oh, we can have a billion of these on the screen at once. It was just some system designer that sat down with like a spreadsheet and said, "This will work."
There's still streamers or YouTubers still making Diablo 2 videos. So.
We have a first-time chat from Bloodmoth. Guys, I am a game designer. Not video game designer, but still. And I'll have to hit you with a very sad fact that the percentage of people that can work around mildly complex number systems has decreased dramatically. Gear scores are probably here to stay. No!
Well, I too am a game designer, and that's probably accurate. You kind of need to be a bit of an economist to work with those. It is an economy. It is a balancing system. And it turns out no one wants to pay someone to put the hours into it. He's not exactly wrong.
No, I don't disagree. It's easier to control is probably not the best word to use, but to control your players if you have a system.
Dude, I don't know why you pick up the gear and there's an arrow up or an arrow down, and you just assign the one that's arrow up. That system makes me just want to claw my face off. Oh, and I know people love it. It's just so easy. I don't even have to look at the item. The affixes are meaningless.
It was absolute trash. I remember on Saturday morning when Guilty and I were kind of conversing about the game, and his experience, we're kind of like going back and forth. I was taking my list of notes. There were so many things within the first 45 minutes of playing that I was annoyed with because of the port factor. Just merely the port. I didn't even get to the pay. I didn't get to the point where they were like, hey, you completed a dungeon. You want to buy something? I'm like, I didn't get to that point yet, but I already had 2 pages of notes that we went over on the podcast the other day about just all the stuff. And it was just felt I knew right away it wasn't going to hold me. And by Monday,
you were done.
I was done. I was surprised you were still playing, Aaron, to be honest. But then again, I wasn't, because you're going to, do the thing and
level
do your
60
testing.
Paragon 8, 0 cents, and I got there in a week. I mean, I really.
That was mine.
Well, what I did is I loaded it on my laptop, so I just be like, in bed, wife asleep.
Right.
And it's mindless. I could be half asleep. Auto run, footsteps, red dot.
Auto run,
oh,
red
gosh.
dot. It was a cycle of auto run, red dot, follow. I felt like they should have made a Pac-Man skin, so you could like Pac-Man your way through the dots, while you followed your line.
I've still never understood why they don't do this. And this podcast, we're already supposed to be done. It was supposed to be 90 minutes, but I have to make this point. I get why mobile games exist. They make so much money. I get it.
Huge part of the market.
I understand. It's the biggest part of the market is mobile games.
Yeah, as long as it's an NFT game.
Undecember was supposed to be the game built on Unreal Engine 4.
That game.
Designed for PC. They said it. This game is designed for PC, but when you're on the go and you don't have access, we ported it to mobile so that, hey, you could have that great full ARPG experience on your desktop. And then when you're on the go, you could at least log in and play a little bit. Why don't they do that? Why is it always the other way around, where it's designed for mobile and then ported to PC? So obviously I already know the answer to the question. It's because of money, or however the hell it's designed. I don't know.
Well, yeah, the biggest market, so you're going to make the game for the biggest market. The biggest.
Dude, I remember Dark was all about Undecember. Oh, it's going to be the biggest game.
Oh, yeah. It was going to be the last Epoch killer.
The last Epoch killer.
Oh, yes. Famous.
No.
Last Epoch hasn't been born yet, so it can't be killed. I'm going to say that.
Right.
Well, not that. These other games that are coming out aren't even ARPGs.
I know they're not.
It's like there's no comparison. And this other one's going to be an MMO. We already know that.
Yeah. Facts. It's our
So
thing.
if I want to play an ARPG,
Oh, it's born.
I'm going to have it.
I don't know.
No, it's a very
Let's see.
long pregnancy with Last Epoch.
It's a very long pregnancy.
Yes,
it turns
it is.
out
Gestation
people
period.
care about what they're making. They take a
moons.
long time to make it.
I know. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. So what we're going to be doing, just so everybody knows, every Tuesday night, we will be here on Twitch. Okay, sometimes we'll bring in special guests. Sometimes we will do different things. But this podcast, This Week in Action, will be every Tuesday night, and I'm going to be adding it to the calendar. We're shooting for well, I guess I'm on Mountain Time. I don't know, it's 6:45, 7 o'clock Mountain Time. I don't know, whatever that is on your guys' normal time scales or systems. If you're not able to catch this live, the vlog will always be on my Twitch, and then this will be ripped and put on my YouTube as well. Now, what we're going to be doing is this podcast used to be only for paying Patreon members, and we appreciate our Patreons. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be killing this stream right now, and we are going to be moving over to Patreon, where we are going to do a 1-hour bonus segment every single Tuesday night. So if you want to be a part of that extra bonus segment, that extra hour, check out the Patreon. It is linked in the description below. We appreciate you all coming out here and watching. We appreciate all the comments and keeping the conversation going. It really is a good time, and we're excited to be doing this live every single week. That's all I've got. Daft, give your closing comment.
All right, guys, it's been fun. Nice chatting with you guys in chat and with you guys, of course, like usual. And I'm looking forward to next week.
Love it. Guilty, close us out.
All of you guys that were in like first time talking, thank you for coming and joining. Join the Patreon, join the Discord, and see us next week.
I love it. This Week in Action, podcast 19 in the books. We will see you all later.